Hello, my name is Yutaka Watanabe, a tax accountant and administrative scrivener. Welcome to the channel. Tax accountant and administrative scrivener Nabe solves your money problems. Today, I'd like to talk about is having a construction business permit advantageous for financing too? A construction business permit. I think many of you are already familiar with it, but do you think of it merely as a troublesome legal procedure or something you have no choice but to obtain in order to accept construction work worth 5 million yen or more? Actually, through today's explanation, your image of this permit should change completely. That is because this permit is not just a piece of paper. In fact, it can transform into an incredibly powerful financial tool that dramatically improves your company's cash flow. Today, let's uncover this surprising fact together. Now, one simple question probably comes to mind. It is really true that having a construction business permit gives you an advantage when applying for bank loans. For business owners who struggle with cash flow every day and wonder how they can grow their business further, this is probably a point they have thought about at least once. Let me give you the construction first. Knowing the answer to this question can become the biggest accelerator for speeding up your company's growth. When we organize the information, the construction is truly simple and powerful. The financial benefits of obtaining the permit are, frankly speaking, enormous. It is like a sales passport for winning large projects, but at the same time, it also becomes a golden passport that strongly attracts funding from financial institutions. However, strangely enough, many companies overlook this huge benefit, which could be called its hidden value. Doesn't that feel like a waste? So, why does a mere permit have such power to attract money? The secret lies precisely in the strict process required to obtain that permit. Think about it carefully. Having the permit means that a public institution, such as the national or local government, has strictly examined every corner of your company to determine whether its financial condition is sound and whether its management control system is properly established. It then officially gives your company an endorsement saying this company is trustworthy. That is more solid evidence that anything else. Specifically, the examination checks details such as the financial statement for the most recent 5 years, the amount of equity capital, and whether full-time technical personnel are employed. In addition, it strictly confirms whether the person responsible for management operations has at least 5 years or practical experience. The fact that this permit can only be obtained after clearing multiple strict standards is true weight of the permit. It is also the biggest reason financial institutions place strong trust in it. From the perspective of a bank loan officer, there are few materials more reassuring when deciding whether to lend money, and this official endorsement triggers a remarkably clear domino effect in business. The first domino is overwhelming trust from financial institutions. Once that falls, it connects to the second door of wealth, favorable loan screening, and ultimately it produces the best result, a dramatic expansion of financing options. Looking at actual cases where credit lines expand after obtaining the permit, it is not unusual for a small, medium-sized construction company with annual sales of around 300 million yen to have its unsecured bank loan line expand from around 30 million yen before obtaining the permit to around 80 million to 100 million yen afterward. Also, in interest rate negotiations, many companies have succeeded in lowering their rate by around 0.3 to 0.5% compared to when they did not have the permit. Over the long term, this can lead to interest saving in the millions of yen. It is truly the moment when the business owner fully takes control of cash flow. However, expanding financing options is actually only a passing point. The real goal we should aim for lies beyond that. It is management stability. It is the mental reassurance of having a funding line that can be used immediately when needed. And above all, it is the fact that you have built a strong relationship with a powerful financial partner. This becomes the greatest weapon for building a resilient company that will not be shaken by any rough waves, such as unexpected recession, sudden increases in material costs, or an abrupt shortage of skilled workers. In addition, companies with a construction business permit also find it easier to obtain eligibility to bid for public works. Compared with private construction projects, public works have a lower risk of non-payment and tend to provide more stable cash flow. Furthermore, from the perspective of prime constructors, whether a company is licensed is an important criterion when choosing subcontractors. In fact, there are many reported cases where companies received inquiries from new prime constructors after obtaining the permit. In other words, a single permit starts turning all the gears related to cash flow, financing, interest rates, orders, and corrections in better direction at the same time. Don't you think there are very few management investments with such high cost per performance? Now, finally, I would like to ask you once again, are you fully using the powerful social credibility that a construction business permit brings as a weapon to stabilize your management? It is true that obtaining the permit takes effort and cost, but its returns exceeding that effort are waiting in both finance and orders. Then the story changes, doesn't it? Will you turn the permit you worked so hard to obtain into nothing more than a piece of paper hanging on the office wall? Or will you fully use it as the strongest passport for opening up your company's future. The person who decides that is no one else but you. Please take this opportunity to reconsider the true value of your company's permit. Today, I spoke about is having a construction business permit advantageous for financing too? For more information about construction business permits, please also visit the website of Yutaka Watanabe Construction Business Permit Administrative Scrivener Office. I will continue sharing information centered on the theme of money. So, please subscribe to the channel. Tax Accountant and Administrative Scrivener Nabe solves your money problems.